Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
I sat in the glass-walled conference room, fingers pressed lightly against the polished wood of the table, my expression unreadable. Cameron Atchison leaned back in his chair, a smug smirk playing at his lips. Across from me, Dolly adjusted her pristine white blazer, barely concealing her giddy excitement. "I have to admit, Kimberly," Cameron began, lacing his fingers together, "you've been an invaluable part of Deep Vision Systems. But after careful evaluation, we've decided that the Director of Strategy position is best suited for Dolly." A tightness coiled in my chest, but I remained still. Careful evaluation? That was a joke. Everyone in the firm knew I had led every major strategic breakthrough over the past 2 years. Dolly, on the other hand, was a polished figurehead, fit at networking, adept at parroting ideas, but utterly incapable of independent thought. "I see," I said smoothly, my voice revealing nothing. "And you'd like me to break the news to the team?" Cameron nodded, feigning sympathy. It would demonstrate real leadership, grace under pressure. The insult was surgical, forcing me to publicly endorse my own replacement. A final humiliation. I took a slow breath and stood. Of course. The team had gathered in the main conference room, expecting an announcement. My chest burned as I met their expectant gazes. I adjusted my blazer, then spoke. "I'm honored to stand before you today," I began, my voice poised. "Change is necessary for progress, and Deep Vision Systems is no stranger to evolution. It takes vision, dedication, and someone with the right expertise to lead our strategic future." I let the words settle, glancing at Cameron, who shifted slightly in his seat. I turned to Dolly, whose smile wavered. Dolly has been chosen to take on the role of Director of Strategy. I have no doubt she'll bring a unique perspective to the team. A ripple of murmurs passed through the room. Unique was a loaded word. A few colleagues exchanged wary glances. After all, almost everyone knew that Dolly was Cameron's mistress. I smiled, continuing. "Of course, strategy isn't just about titles. It's about execution. Behind the scenes, our work speaks for itself." I let my gaze sweep across the room, locking eyes with those who had worked beside me on high-profile projects, and I trust that the results will always reveal the true architects of success. Silence. Cameron stiffened. Dolly's fingers gripped the arm of her chair. I had planted the first seed of doubt. As the applause started, polite but uncertain, I turned away, already setting my next move in motion. The air in my office was unnervingly still as I typed my final report. My resignation letter sat open on my screen, but my real masterpiece was buried deeper. A hidden failsafe in the very system that had propelled Deep Vision Systems to dominance. For 2 years, my AI-driven financial forecasting model had quietly optimized their profits. They never once asked how it worked, only that it did. Cameron and his inner circle had always assumed success was theirs by right, as if my work had simply materialized out of thin air. They never questioned why the company's financial strategies had outperformed competitors. They never thought to wonder who was truly behind it. And now I was about to remind them exactly how valuable I had been. A soft knock on the door. "You're really leaving?" Ethan's voice carried a weight of disbelief. He was one of the few people I respected in this place, and unlike the others, he had always acknowledged my contributions. I glanced at him, then back at the screen. Officially, yes. I hit enter, finalizing the system update. A faint thrill ran through me. Unofficially? Let's just say they'll feel my absence. Ethan folded his arms, concern lining his face. "Kimberly, what did you do?" I allowed myself a small, knowing smile. "Nothing, yet." Minutes later, I walked into Cameron's office and handed him my resignation. He barely looked up from his screen, not even pretending to be interested. "Good luck, Kimberly," he muttered, his tone dripping with indifference. Smug. Dismissive. As if I were just another replaceable cog in the machine. The most interesting thing is that before leaving, I connected to the video surveillance system, to all the main video cameras in order to be able to watch how they will cope without me. 2 days later, chaos erupted. Dolly's frantic voice rang through the halls, her usual fake confidence replaced by sheer panic. "The forecasting system isn't working. The models are failing. Numbers don't add up." A door slammed open. Cameron's office. "Fix it." His voice was sharp, rattled in a way I had never heard before. But they wouldn't. Because the lock I had built into the system had just been triggered. The moment unauthorized hands tried to tweak my work, everything began to unravel. Their empire, the one they had so arrogantly pushed me out of, was already crumbling beneath them. And I was just getting started. The fallout from my departure had hit Deep Vision Systems like a slow-burning fuse. The first week, investors shrugged off the technical glitches. By the second, panic had set in, projections were collapsing, clients were growing restless, and the once confident Cameron was now holding emergency meetings behind closed doors. I watched it unfold from a distance, coffee in hand, as my phone vibrated with an incoming call. Kimberly Gonzalez speaking. A smooth, authoritative voice answered. Ms. Gonzalez, this is Richard Ellison, CEO of Synapse Core Innovations. We've been following your career closely, and I believe we have an opportunity that would be mutually beneficial. I leaned back in my chair, intrigued. I'm listening. We'd like to bring you on as our Chief Strategy Officer, full control over forecasting models, direct input in executive decisions, and, he paused, his tone sharpening, a generous stock option package. We're prepared to move quickly. A slow smile spread across my lips. That's quite the offer. Ellison chuckled. We believe in talent, and from what I hear, Deep Vision Systems is struggling without yours. A satisfying thought, but I wasn't about to rush into anything. Before I say yes, let's talk specifics. By the time we ended the call, the offer had shifted into something far more lucrative. Stock. Authority. Decision-making power, not just a position. I was securing my future. That same afternoon, my inbox lit up with an email from an unexpected sender, Cameron Atchison. Let's discuss your return. We're prepared to adjust your role. No title, no details, just a vague, desperate attempt at damage control. They thought they could discard me and then retrieve me when it was convenient? I drafted my reply carefully. Cameron, I appreciate the outreach, but I don't accept offers without specifics. What exactly are you proposing? It didn't take long for his response to arrive. VP of Strategic Initiatives. Increased salary. Your expertise is valued, and we believe this role reflects that. A hollowed title. An empty gesture. They didn't want me back. They wanted my work back. I clicked reply. Thank you, Cameron, but I prefer competence over compliments. I've accepted a leadership role at Synapse Core Innovations. Wishing you the best with your ongoing technical difficulties. I imagined his face as he read that last line, the slow realization creeping in. Deep Vision Systems had underestimated me. The first wave was subtle. A whisper in the industry, a slow shift in client inquiries. Then came the headlines. The mind behind the model. The woman who transformed financial forecasting. I scrolled through the article as Synapse Core's PR team executed the strategy flawlessly. They didn't mention Deep Vision Systems outright, but the implications were clear. The feature detailed my forecasting innovations, highlighting companies that had thrived under my methods, companies now experiencing a sharp decline after my departure. The markets reacted swiftly. Investors took note. Deep Vision Systems stock began to slip. Cameron must have seen it, because his call came at exactly 10:07 a.m. You orchestrated this, he accused, his voice tight with anger. I sipped my coffee, unimpressed. Orchestrated what, Cameron? I left. You promoted your alternative choice. He ignored the jab. We both know this campaign is designed to undermine us. I smiled. It's designed to highlight my work. If your company's suffering, maybe you should ask yourselves why. A tense silence. Then, a low breath. I'll double your last salary. Come back, fix this. I almost laughed. He still didn't get it. Not interested, I said. But do let me know how Dolly's handling things. I ended the call before he could answer. Meanwhile, Synapse Core was thriving. My strategies, once undervalued, were now at the heart of our expansion. And as Deep Vision Systems crumbled, it was only a matter of time before the final, inevitable step. Their complete collapse or my complete takeover. Meanwhile, behind closed doors at Deep Vision Systems, chaos reigned. With investors pulling out and clients demanding answers, internal audits were conducted in haste. It didn't take long for the reports to reveal the ugly truth. Dolly had no real strategic input, no understanding of the forecasting model, and no ability to manage the crisis. Cameron tried to shield her at first, but the pressure from the board was relentless. The evidence was overwhelming: fabricated credentials, forged performance reports, and a complete lack of competence. Furious executives needed someone to blame, and Dolly became the perfect scapegoat. At an emergency board meeting, she was confronted. "Explain these inconsistencies," one director demanded, tossing the damning reports across the table. Dolly stammered, eyes darting to Cameron for help, but he remained silent. Within an hour, security escorted her out of the building. Disgraced, exposed, and utterly abandoned, Dolly left the company in shambles, just as she had run it. Deep Vision Systems was collapsing. Investors were fleeing, clients were withdrawing, and behind closed doors, Cameron was desperate. The empire he had manipulated his way to control was crumbling beneath him, and now the one person he had underestimated was the only one who could save it. His email arrived at dawn. "Name your price. We'll buy back the model." The arrogance in his words had vanished, replaced by barely disguised panic. I took my time responding. By noon, my legal team had drafted the counteroffer. Synapsicor would acquire Deep Vision Systems outright. But there was a condition. Cameron had to resign immediately and publicly. The signing ceremony was held in Deep Vision's once glorious conference room. The air was thick with unspoken tensions. Journalists and photographers lined the walls, capturing the moment of his downfall. Cameron sat across from me, pale and rigid, a man watching his power slip through his fingers. When the time came, he extended his hand toward me, his fingers stiff, his smile forced. Cameras flashed. "You planned this all along," he murmured through gritted teeth, his voice barely audible over the clicks of shutters. I met his gaze, unwavering. "No, Cameron, you did. The moment you chose to overlook me." I turned, walking away as the room erupted in whispers. Deep Vision was no longer his. It was mine.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.